You're applying to med school right now and you're feeling overwhelmed pre-writing secondaries. I've been helping people become doctors for about 10 years and I'm going to give you some of the tips to make it a lot less overwhelming. First off, do not compile all of the secondaries you have to write. I've seen people who start off by combing the internet and trying to download every single one and put it into a single document. By the time you're finished with that, you're going to feel like you're buried under a mountain of work. Go one at a time. So you find a secondary, do the secondary, and you get that little dopamine rush of having done something. The second point is, what order should you write them in? Year after year, I recommend that people start with the schools they're most excited about. Take your first choice, write that secondary, do the second, third, so on and so forth. And when I say do them, I don't mean do them perfectly. It's just about getting a product down on paper. But anyway, when you have that, it's going to be so much easier for you to polish over time as you have ideas. And that way you're not frozen trying to do something perfect. All that being said, how do you actually write secondaries in a systematic and efficient way? We'll divide it into pre-work and the writing process. Pre-work, you're going to do two things. Number one, you're going to identify the elements of the deliverable on the page. So if you get a secondary that says, talk about a challenge you've overcome and how it contributes to your career aspirations, that's two components. You're going to want to make it clear what the challenge was. What made it challenging? How did you overcome it? What was the outcome? And the second part is casting it forward into your career vision. Why did it inspire you to do such and such? That way you're addressing what the actual prompt is asking for. You need to think about the prompt behind the page, which I've spoken about in another video you can check out in this playlist. Zoom out and look at all of the different secondaries that school is asking for. What do you think they're trying to learn about you? Obviously, they don't just want to know how hard it was to overcome that challenge. They're trying to gather data on something that's important to them. Or if you look at the other questions they ask, how does this fit into the broader picture of what they're looking for? Make sure that you're adding value to the rest of your application. So most secondaries you can take in more than one direction. Ask yourself what you haven't said yet. Between the work and activities and the primary application and personal statement, what are some areas you wanted to go more in depth with? Now that you've done all that planning, let's talk about how to actually write it. Within the first two lines, make sure you're addressing the prompt. So if it's that significant challenge question, you can say one of the most formative challenges I've had is going through XYZ. Something that immediately addresses the deliverable. Then you will circumscribe the scope of the essay. Not too hard if it's a 300 character short secondary, but if it's a 1350 or more character secondary, you're going to have 2 or 3 paragraphs. So make sure that you let them know what the main ideas are so that there's a scaffold as they're reading through the rest of the body of the secondary. Short, sweet, to the point, clear, concise, and accessible language. That's the way to go because remember, they're going to read dozens of these. You want to stand out by way of clarity, not dramatization or creativity. Remember to comment if you want to inspire the next video about how to write S-tier secondaries, or reach out via DM or the link in my bio if you want my team and I to work with you directly on your secondaries. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You've got this.